in the shadow of the Appalachian Mountains, hidden behind a thick veil of ancient trees, there lay the town of Blackwood Hollow. Known for its eerie silence and an unshakable feeling of being watched, Blackwood was a place heavy with legend. But no story chilled the blood like the century-old rite known as the Binding. This year, the time had come again. And as always, the forest seemed to sense it, its looming branches casting ominous shapes against the moonlight. In the weeks leading up to the ritual, Blackwood became a stage for the unexplained. Porch lights flickered without cause, strange markings appeared carved into bark, and locals swore they saw eyes glinting in the wood's eyes that were too large to be human. Claire, a spirited young woman who had moved back to Blackwood after her father's passing, couldn't ignore the whispers. She'd always brushed off the town's superstitions as old wives' tales. But the stories took a darker turn when she began, having vivid nightmares of a hollow-eyed boy standing in the woods, his voice a ghostly echo. It's time, driven by curiosity and a nagging need for answers. Claire turned to her childhood best friend, Daniel, who had always been more rooted in the town's lore. What they uncovered would thrust Blackwood into a nightmare no one could escape. Asterisk. The night arrived, heavy with a suffocating stillness. Beneath the gnarled branches of an ancient oak known as the Sentinel, the townsfolk gathered, shrouded in dark cloaks. They carried rusted lanterns that flickered like dying stars. Claire and Daniel followed, staying hidden as they moved deeper into the woods. The ceremony began. A low hum of chanting rose as the townsfolk formed a tight circle around an altar etched with strange runes. At the center, the town's elder, Victor Holloway, presided, his weathered face unreadable under the dim light. Kneeling before the altar was a boy, no older than 12, trembling in his tattered clothing. Claire's stomach twisted as realization struck the stories weren't exaggerations. This was a blood sacrifice. The chanting grew louder, echoing through the forest. Elder Holloway raised a blade, its surface darkened with age as he began to intone the final words. The trees seemed to press closer, their branches like skeletal hands. Shadows pooled unnaturally at the base of the altar. Claire couldn't watch any longer. Stop this insanity. Claire's voice rang out, slicing through the chant. The crowd turned as one, their faces blank, their eyes reflecting an unnatural gleam. Elder Holloway sneered, his grip on the blade tightening. "You do not understand what you are doing," he growled. "This is the only way." Before he could finish, the earth beneath the altar quaked violently, knocking many off their feet. Shadows erupted from the ground, twisting into grotesque forms that towered over the clearing. The blade fell from Holloway's hands, and the boy let out a cry before vanishing into the engulfing darkness. The ritual was broken, and the forest was alive with fury. The shadows moved with horrifying speed, pulling townsfolk into their depths. Screams filled the air as the figures shrieked, in distorted, inhuman tones. Claire grabbed Daniel's hand, and they bolted. As they stumbled through the forest, it became clear that the woods had transformed. Familiar trails led to nowhere, and the trees seemed alive, their branches reaching for them. Daniel tripped, gasping as Claire pulled him to his feet. "It's following us," he choked, his voice ragged with fear. Glancing over her shoulder, Claire saw the figure from her dreams. The hollow-eyed boy stood amidst the chaos, his face calm, but his eyes aflame with something ancient and malevolent. Shadows coiled around him, and his voice rang out, now deep and echoing. "The binding is broken. The hunger begins." Daniel screamed as the shadows surged toward him, consuming him in a matter of moments. Claire's own scream died in her throat as she stumbled backward, helpless against the encroaching darkness. Blackwood Hollow was never the same. Those who survived the night spoke of shadowy figures that lingered just out of sight, and of whispers that never ceased. The woods were abandoned, the ancient oak left to stand as a silent sentinel over a place cursed by its own history. Claire's fate became the stuff of legends. Some claimed she became a guardian spirit, battling the shadows. Others said her soul was claimed by the dark forces, her screams joining the eternal whispers that haunted the forest. And deep in the Appalachian wilderness, the boy remained, his hollow eyes watching. The hunger was endless, and he would wait for those foolish enough to trespass.